Well, welcome to day 3 of Unit 2. Yesterday we talked about conditional statements, and we talked about a conditional statement is a statement that has the words if and then in it. P, then Q. P implies Q. So if you buy this cell phone, then you will receive 1 for 1/2 price. The hypothesis is the statement followed by the if, and the conclusion is followed by the words then. So today we're going to continue with the conditional statements, and today we're going to talk about inverse, converse, and contrapositive of a conditional statement. And let me make something clear so that we understand. So in a conditional statement, we know that the hypothesis, which we talked about yesterday, comes first, and then that implies Q. So this is the if, and this is the then. So everything after the if, and then everything after the then. Okay? So today we're going to talk about converse, inverse, and contrapositive. We're still going to use the words P and Q, and then we'll get into some examples here. So in the converse of a conditional statement, converse. In the converse of a conditional statement, all you're going to do is flip the conclusion with the hypothesis. So now your statement is going to look like this. Q implies P. Okay, and we'll get into that here in a minute. All right, in an inverse, the inverse of a conditional statement, we're going to negate the hypothesis. Negate, all the word negate means is not. We're going to put not in there. Not P implies not Q. Okay, and then we're going to go contrapositive. And all contrapositive is the negate converse. So we're going to say not Q implies not P. Now this sounds complicated and this sounds hard to do, but it's not hard to do. All you got to do is remember the hypothesis and the conclusion. So here we go. Let's talk about this. The first thing I do when I do these is I identify P and Q in the conditional statement. So I know right now the if statement is the P. It is the hypothesis. So this is going to be P. Okay. And this right here after the then is going to be the Q. Okay. So the conditional statement, P implies Q, P implies Q here. Okay. So now we get into the converse. We want to write the converse of this conditional statement. All we're going to do is we're going to flip Q and P. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. So instead of saying, we're going to keep if where it's at, and we're going to bring Q over here. So if an animal is nocturnal, comma, then, now we bring P over here, then it is a armadillo. And that's all I did, was I flipped Q and P there. I kept if and then where it was supposed to go, but then I flipped P and Q. Okay? Not hard at all. Okay? Now we go to inverse, and we're going to use the word negate. The word negate means we're going to add not in there. So the inverse up here says not P implies not Q. So we're going to keep P and Q where they're at here, but we're going to add the word not in there. So this is what the inverse would look like in this situation. If an animal is not a armadillo, then it is, got to negate Q now, not nocturnal. So we negated the conditional statement. So this is Q implies P. This is not P implies not Q. And then we move on to contrapositive. And all you're going to do in the contrapositive is you're going to negate the converse. So this is going to be not Q implies not P. So we're going to use this converse up here since it was QP, and we're going to add the words not into it. So we have if an animal is not nocturnal, then it is not a armadillo. And that would sum up converse, inverse, and contrapositive. Okay, let's do another example. So here we go. If an angle has a measure less than 90, then it is acute. I know right now that this is the conditional statement. This is P, and then this right here is Q. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to write the converse. Okay, y'all go back to your notes, press pause, go back to your notes, and you write that down. All right, now that you're back, we're going to write the converse. So converse is we're going to flip Q and P. We're going to keep if and then in the same spot. So we're going to go if an angle is acute, if an angle is acute, then, because if and then stay where they're at, then it has a measure, the angle has a measure of less than 90 degrees. Then an angle has a measure of less than 90 degrees. And that is the converse of the conditional statement. So we went Q implies P. Okay? Number 2, we're going to write the inverse. So now we're going to negate P implies Q. So we're going to do this up here, and we're going to add the word not into it. Okay? Press pause, take a few seconds to do that, then come back. All right, now that you're back, here we go. We're going to keep the same statement, except we're going to add the word not. So here we go. If an angle does not, because if you just say not measure, does not have a measure less than 90 degrees, then it is not acute. So I've added the word does not, and I've added the word not. I've negated P, and I've negated Q in my answer. Pretty simple. All right, number 3, contrapositive. Number 3, contrapositive. So what do we do in the contrapositive? We do the negating of the converse. We're going to say not Q implies not P. Okay? Push pause. Take a few seconds to write that down. Then come back and join me. All right, so we're going to go, now that you're back, we're going to go back to the converse, because we're going Q implies P, not Q implies, and we're going to add the word not to this statement, to these two statements. So here we go. If an angle is not acute, then an angle does not have a measure of less than 90 degrees. And that sums up converse, inverse, and contrapositive. Again, your conditional statement is P implies Q. I'm going to put this right here. Your conditional statement is P implies Q. Your converse, you flip your hypothesis and your conclusion, and it becomes Q implies P. Then you have your inverse, which is not P, not Q. You're negating your conditional statement. And then you have your contrapositive, which is negation of the converse, which is not Q and not P. When we negate something, we're adding the word not to it. And that is your lesson today. You need to do Unit 2, Day 3, and we'll see you on Monday.